All right, here we go. I'm excited. We're going to start tonight's call. This is actually our day 3 training with the hustle. We're going to start out, first of all, our topic tonight is going to be the 3-way call. But before we dig into the 3-way call, I'm going to rewind just a little bit, and we're going to talk about tomorrow night. Because tomorrow night we have an opportunity share coming up, and that's going to be your assignment tonight is going to be to ask guests to get on the opportunity share that is coming up tomorrow. Now, I want to clarify something that the opportunity share is amazing. Gail Elliott is going to be sharing. Gail is the perfect person to get a prospect on. And this is why. She has dedicated her whole life to the study of naturopathic health and nutrition. So she's kind of one of those people that if you said, oh goodness, my pinky thumb is stiff, she would tell you exactly what to take. I mean, my daughters asked me if she was a witch because she was in the kitchen like mixing potions and making capsules and giving them to us. And so she's very, very well versed in holistic health. Not only that, she does have a background in network marketing. And so with those two things combined, I think that what you're going to get on the call you're going to train. So even if you have no guests, when you're on that call, which that's not going to happen, but let's say that did happen and you are on that call, because the purpose of the call is for your training on the product as much as it is for your guests to get recruited. So when you're on that call, you want to have your notebook out. I'm telling you, if you don't have your notebook and pen, you're going to wish that you did, because there are 3 people that I learned product from, and it's Dr. Bruce, Dr. Stevie, and Gail. Those are the 3 people that I've learned from in all of Isogenics. So when you hear me do calls and I'm saying this stuff, that's where I got it from, and Gail's actually speaking tomorrow night. Now, and because of that, you do want to get guests onto the Zoom. And so in asking them on the Hustle page, if you look where I introduced the call tomorrow night, if you go down the comment section, there is a cut and paste text that literally I cut and paste to all of my prospects that I want to get on the Zoom. Now, if they're a guy, I don't say, hey girl, but other than that, I cut and don't forget to erase that part out, because that would be embarrassing. But other than that, I literally just cut and paste that same invitation into every person. You could do that in the morning or when you're out and about. Just ask people to listen. Know that if there's somebody that you really, really want on. So if there's somebody that you feel like, I really want to get this person to listen, then I never ask that in a text message. I actually say, can I call you? And I call them and ask them. It's only when they don't respond to can I call you, or when they say they can't talk to me, that I ask it over text. So, for example, the cut and paste that I have that I put up on the Facebook page tonight, when I was sending that to people, they were people that were lukewarm prospects. I maybe have mentioned Isogenics to them. It's nobody that I'm thinking, I really want this person, or this person's really on the edge. If it's somebody like that, I'm going to get on the phone and really talk them into listening to Gail. And looking at who is the ideal prospect to get on to listen to Gail, if you have any mom that has a child with ADHD, that's struggling with Asperger's, autism, any children with special needs, get those moms on the Zoom tomorrow night. And that has way less to do with you and your business, and all about them and what they can provide for their children. So that's one thing to look at. And then anyone else that Gail's great for everyone, because she also is into fitness, she lifts, she does CrossFit, so she's going to hit the whole gamut. But she's also very well versed. So if you have, I know that even the last couple of days, I feel like we've talked to a lot of people, like Jamie, your mother-in-law, and I know that we talked to somebody today. Jennifer, we talked to somebody with diabetes. So anybody with those conditions or health conditions, also those would be ideal for that call. If you get them on there, she's probably going to get them closed. So you really want to work that and really try to get people that are hanging on it, and you can also get new people on that. Now, if you have someone on the call tomorrow night, that does not count as one of your three-way training calls. It does count as one of the 25 calls that you're trying to do in order to win the hat. So if you're trying to win the hat, it counts for that. We are all trying to win the hat. But it does not count for the 5 three-way phone calls that you're trying to get done this week, because you're really not getting trained how to do a three-way call whenever you're having somebody listen to an opportunity Zoom. Okay, so questions about any of that before I go on? I feel like I sound so bossy, like do this, do that. I'm really not. Maybe I am. I don't know. Any questions at all about any of that? Zach, are you talking? No? Okay.
I said, why are you being so bossy? I'm just kidding.
I am. Okay, so that's the scoop with tomorrow night. So get them on there. Whenever you have 10 guests on tomorrow night, you get a box of e-shots. If you do have 10 guests on, you have to message me and say, hey, I had 10 guests on. If you ever win a prize in general, you have to message me, because I am my own secretary and I'm really bad at the job. So you have to message me and say, I won this prize. Otherwise, don't count on me to figure it out, because I struggle with that. So 10 guests, you get a box of e-shots. Now, we're going to talk about tonight, the topic of our actual call tonight, though, is the three-way call outline. Because I know, how many of you guys have already started your three-way calls? Like, you're in there, you're doing them. Like, I know you guys are blowing me up today. Like, I'm surprised I even have a voice left, but I'm excited about that. But the three-way calls, guys, I want to go in and I really want to talk about the outline of the three-way call, what you're listening for, and the training, kind of what you're listening for, what it looks like. So the title of it is The Skeleton of the Three-Way Call. Now, when we come back on Sunday night, well, Thursday night, we'll have Gail. And then on Sunday night will be our next training. We're going to dig in and we're going to talk about the follow-up after a three-way call. But tonight we're talking about the three-way call, the outline, the skeleton of what it looks like. So let me go in and manage this really quickly. All right, got it. Okay, so basically, the three-way call, first of all, what you're really trying to do is you're really trying to learn the story of the person that you're talking to. And you're looking for the gaps in their life, and then you're trying to figure out, what does Isagenix have that can fill those gaps? And I think sometimes we get so nervous and so self-conscious that we forget. Really, all we're trying to do is find a gap, find the gap in their life, and then figure out, does Isagenix have something to fill that gap that they're missing in their life? And so really the first thing that in starting the three-way call, the skeleton of it, and this really follows along with the three-way call outline form that's on Team Destiny Online that you guys have been using anyway. But the first thing that I always ask them is I just ask them, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about you as far as with Isagenix, we have products for weight loss. We have products for energy, like needing energy, general health. We have products for athletes. Out of those categories, are there any of those categories that you feel like you can relate to or you need more than the other? So when they say that, I'm listening. I'm listening to what they're saying. And this is why it is so much more effective to give whole facts and take the time allotted. Because if you're just out and about and someone says, oh, tell me about Isagenix, we're really tempted to go in and rattle a bunch of stuff off. But when we're doing that, what we didn't do is we didn't find their gap and then figure out how Isagenix can fill their gap. And so that's why it's harder to close like that. So we're really trying to figure out what is their gap. Once they've said, I need to lose weight, or I'm really tired, or maybe they say I'm a CrossFitter, maybe they say I'm a marathon runner, you're really listening to what their need is, and you're thinking, okay, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, our core products work for everybody, because they do. That's the amazing part of us being a superfood company, is that it's not like different things fuel different people's bodies. The same fuel fuels everybody, but it depends upon how you use it. And so you're listening to what they're saying. And so you're thinking, okay, in the back of your mind, after they've talked, then what you're going to do is you're going to line up the products and you're going to shift it toward their needs. Now, that's why you're doing these training calls. You're listening for your executive to do that. So when your executive is on the phone and the person has said, well, I have an autoimmune problem and I can't sleep at night and I'm really overweight, then how they present is going to be different than if the person said, well, I'm a marathon runner and I'm having a hard time putting on lean muscle mass. And so what you're doing is you're listening to that answer. And that's why whenever you're looking for the people that will listen to your 10 total training calls, you really want to find an array of people. So you're looking for some athletes, you're looking for some people that are overweight, you're looking for some people that are older, people that have went through some health journeys. Is this kind of making sense? So that you can hear your executive really slant the conversation, helping to fill the gap of that person. Now, the next thing during the call, then once you find their needs, so that you've found out what is that gap, now you're looking at filling the gap. Basically, your executive is going to go through the sheet straight down. I will tell you this, that the 5 core products are listed down the 3-way call outline. So there's shake, cleanse, ionics, vitamins, and product B. Those are the 5 core products that everything else is centered around. However, I want to kind of point a couple of things out to you, because those things are on the sheet, but yet when we're doing the calls, there's a couple of things that you might notice. And that is if the person is super young, like let's say they're 23 to 26, we're probably not going to bring up a lot about the product B, because at that age, they're invincible. They don't want to know about that. So we're probably not going to bring that up. Or if someone is an athlete, you might find us going a little bit quicker over the cleanse. We might not spend as much time on that. And then during that conversation at the end of the core products, we're really going to jump into the AMP line. And the AMP line is not listed out on that 3-way call sheet. So that's where you're going to take a lot of notes if you happen to have an athlete on there. You are looking for athletes to listen. You need an endurance athlete, so someone that runs, bikes, swims. You're also looking for a basic power lifter, like somebody that's trying to put on lean muscle, and then just a typical, athlete as well. So kind of look for those types of people so that you can hear your executive hit on those as well. Now, as we're going through the presentation, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to overcome objections before the person objects. So let's say that there's a scoreboard and you overcome the objection before the person objects. It's like 1 point for you, 0 for them. Because if you cover objections during the presentation, then at the end, you're going to find that they're not objecting. And what I mean by that, by objections, I'm really talking about comparison. How does this product compare to other products like Shakeology, Advocare? I've tried a million things. Nothing ever works for me. Like they'll say that, like shakes don't work, supplements don't work. So you've got to know that that is an objection coming out. That's an objection in their mind. So I know that they're already thinking shakes don't work, shakes don't fill me up, I don't like how shakes taste, I've tried a million. I know that I'm not going to be full. I know that they're thinking all of those things. And before they have a chance to verbalize that to me, I'm going to overcome that objection during my presentation. And we're going to talk about how to do that in just a second. The other thing that they're probably really objecting to is the cost. Now, Isagenix, for all literal purposes, is very cost effective when you think about it. Because one shake is $3.99. A Happy Meal is $5.50. Going through the drive-thru, $7. And so they're really not going to be spending any more money with Isagenix. It's just if you don't overcome and make that comparison during the presentation and all they hear is the price, they're going to be thinking, I'm paying this much money for vitamins. So you're also overcoming the price point during the presentation. It is, I don't even know. No one ever says to me it's too expensive. I never, ever, ever, ever have that objection ever. And that's because I'm going over all of that. I know what they're spending. I know what the person who is on the tightest shoestring budget, I know they're buying coffee. I know they're going through the drive-through and getting Happy Meals. I know that. And because I know that, I cover that objection during it. Now, they might say to me, I need a couple of weeks to save money, but there's a difference between I need a couple of weeks to save money and it's too expensive. And so that objection is taken care of during the presentation. The other objective that people will really come or might say is the cleanse, where they think, oh no, it's a colon cleanse. So if I can cover that during my presentation, that really helps. So those are really the primary things that I'm trying to cover during my presentation. And the only other thing is, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but is making it not look so complicated. Because one thing you've got to remember is, and I'm going to bring this full circle for you guys in just a second so you're going to see it flow a little bit better. But the other thing is, when you've went over this information with them, what's happened is you've went over the shake, you went over the cleanse, you've went over the Ionix, you went over the vitamins, you went over the product B, and if they're an athlete, now you've went over AMPS, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much stuff, how am I ever going to keep caught up? But in all reality, a day in the life of using Isagenix is they get up in the morning, they do a shot of Ionix, they do a shake for lunch, a shake for breakfast, and then they do a cleanse day 4 times a month. That's it. It's so convenient. And so you've got to come back and say that. And so let's look at what this looks like during the flow of it. So really the first thing that I do is I talk about the shake. You see the bullets on the outline. You're going to see it. We really talk about the same thing all the time, the living enzymes, that it comes from New Zealand. That's a grade 7 organic. You're going to hear that same thing over and over and over again. But during that shake piece of it, I'm saying to them, I always say, when I heard it was a shake program, the first words out of my mouth before Hillary could even talk, I said, oh no, that's never going to work for me. I say that during my story because I really did think that, because I never had a shake that cut me full, and I also never liked the flavor of a shake. That way it's making me relatable to them, and I'm already thinking ahead of time. I know that that's what they're thinking. So I really then talk about, so when I drank the shake, I felt very, very full. And so then I started researching, why did I feel more full after the shake? Well, it's because it has all my macro and micronutrients, and so I wasn't nutritionally deficient anymore. And so that's why this shake filled me up when the other 10 shakes that I tried before never did. So I just told my story, but instead of just telling my story, what happened is I just overcame the objection of what's different about our shake. Well, it's filling, it's undenatured, it's coming from New Zealand, it tastes great, and it actually cut me full, and it's very convenient. So I'm overcoming what I know they're going to object about at the end. And then, so I go over the shake, and then I'm going to go over the Ionix Supreme. There's not anything to object about that because they don't even know what it is. And then the cleanse, the objection of the cleanse many times is is it a colon cleanse? And so I just hit the nail right on the head. I don't skirt the issue. And I say, when the cleanse came on my porch, I thought, oh no, it's Ex-Lax. And that's what I thought. And I put it in my pantry and I didn't use it for 3 weeks, thinking that I would rather be toxic than sit in my bathroom day after day after day getting a cleanse. And the thing is, by saying that, they're understanding that's what it is, because one thing that will really hold people back is in their mind, they're thinking, well, I can't go to work with a cleanse. I can't do a cleanse. And for us already using it, we're like, why would they think that? But in our world, that really is what they're thinking. And so you've got to overcome that during that cleanse part of it. I don't go a ton. I want to kind of talk about this too. Make sure whenever you're talking about the cleanse, you talk about the different ways to use it. I mean, you could do a full fasting day where throughout the day you're basically fasting your body, but I use that lightly because you can do some organic apples and different things like that. But there's an option too where you can take it at night. I don't spend a ton of time going, but it's way better if you cleanse all day and you don't eat. Because I don't do that. I'm just like, you have two options and I move on. Because if you're going into, but you works way better if you cleanse all day, people are thinking, I don't want to not eat. Are you high? What are you smoking? So you don't really go into that part. You want to keep the lines very clean and concise. And then the next thing is the price. Now, I will tell you that I've really started saying this, and I don't even know what nurse it was. It might have been you, Jamie. I can't even remember. But I had a call with a nurse probably about 8 weeks ago. And the nurse literally, I said to her, so why did you start Isagenix? And she said, I started Isagenix to save money because I have this badge and I take my badge to work and I go to the cafeteria and I swipe it every time I eat. And I was having $400 and $500 swiped on my card every month. And I wanted to figure out a way to save money. So I started ordering Isagenix instead to save money. And that way, at least what I eat is also healthy. And so I've started really using that too, where I talk about that with the cost. So I might say during the shake, I might say, and what I found is that not only is it so healthy for me, but it's also helped me to save money. So then we're going to come back and talk about the cost in just a second again. So you're going to go down through all the products. After you've went through all the products, so the shake, the cleanse, the ionics, the vitamins, another thing that you're doing when you overcome objection, I always say to them, I had never had a vitamin that I'd been able to take before. Because before I would swallow a vitamin, I would feel like it was in the base of my throat all day long. Because people are like, I can't swallow vitamins. They're so hard for me to swallow. I hate swallowing things. So I just overcame that objection before it ever came out of their mouth through my story. I hope this is making sense. It makes your clothes faster, more concise. Johnny on the spot, and that's what you're looking for. So as I started taking our vitamins, what I noticed is they absorbed so quickly. Nothing felt like it was coming up during the day. The absorption was amazing. So I'm also going to talk about that. And then the product B. Then after I've talked about the products and slanted them toward their needs and overcame objections, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the cost. During the cost, I posture myself in a very strong way. I do believe with everything that's in me that it is a chunk of change for the average middle-class American to come up with $330 right then and there on the spot. However, I also know that the average American woman, if she wants a Coach bag, figures out a way to go get it. And so I don't feel bad about that. Because she does. She's going to spend it on something. But I also know that even though she's coming up with this chunk of change at the beginning, I know that she's going to save money throughout the month, or the guy's going to save money throughout the month. And so when I close, my posturing is coming from that point that I know that. So it costs $29 to sign up. And then whenever you're purchasing the product, what happens is it breaks down to $3.99 per meal. In fact, I have a lot of people that actually sign up in order to save money because maybe they don't even need to lose weight, but they just want a healthy, fast alternative because they're going through the drive-through and they're going out. And so then instead of spending $6 or $8, they're spending $3.99. So it's so cost effective. So when I'm saying that and posturing that from that point, they're not coming back to me and saying, whoa, that's a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. They don't say that at all because I overcame it during the close. So that close of the three-way call is, it's $3.99. I mean, it's $29 to sign up. Here's the 30-day system. You get 68 meal replacements. It breaks down to $3.99 per meal. So actually most people end up saving so much money in the long run doing this. It's a great value. Then we have another pack called the President's Pack. The President's Pack has a 30-day built within it. So there's a 30-day pack in the President's Pack, but you also get snacks for the month. You get the vitamins with Product B that I shared with you. You get everything. You don't even have to pay the $29 enrollment fee. So that pack is $559 and you're getting almost $800 worth of product for that package. So as you're showing that and posturing that, people will say, people are a lot more likely to not come back and object. Now, I want to cover this. If you are financially pinched, it is very easy to project your financial situation off onto other people. Like where you think, oh, she can't afford it, he can't afford it, I feel bad. You have to be really careful with that. And what you have to do is you're gonna have to rope yourself back in and you really have to get real with what are they already spending. Because most people, it would be the very unique person that is not already spending that money on something else and another food. And so you want to be really careful with that. Now, the next thing we're going to do in the three-way call outline is we're going to dip just a little bit into the follow-up, but we're going to come back on Sunday and talk more about this. But the follow-up actually starts with the three-way call. Your executive is going to do the very beginning of this, and then you're going to have a job to do right after. And so really pay close attention to what I'm saying right now. So what this looks like, guys, is after the call, we've went over the information, we've told the pricing. What you'll find your executive saying, or if it's me, what I'll say is I'll say, so, Brittany, what do you think? Is Isagenix anything that you could ever see yourself doing? It's an open-ended question. So whenever she comes back and she says, well, actually it is. Usually she says, actually it is, but. And she starts saying, well, I'm wondering about how it's going to react with my medicine, or I'm wondering, I'm a little bit skeptical. I really want to look at it a little bit more. And she might ask some questions. And so then I'm going to try to answer her questions. But ultimately, most people, although we have been very blessed the last week or so, fist bump to you guys, we've been very blessed with this where we've had a lot of people signing up on the spot. But typically, the history of my business is I found that most people end up signing up later, not really right on the spot. And so my goal on every three-way call or every time I share the opportunity, my goal is to get them a piece of material that they can look at so that I have another reason to call back and follow up with them. Make sure you do that. So you never get off the phone and go, okay, thanks for calling. Talk to you soon. That's not what you do. You're like, okay, so is there anything you'd like to look at? So Jamie's mother-in-law was kind of interested a few minutes ago, and I just said to her, is there anything else, some material you would like to take a look at? Would you like to look at anything? So typically they'll say yes. And then what you want to do is you want to send them some material to look at. At this moment, because we don't want the call to be a million minutes long, so at this moment, what's really going on is your executive is probably telling you what to send. So all day today. So when I did a call with Jamie, I was like, you need to send the Jim Rose blood cleanse video. You need to send, are you toxic? Whenever, whoever I'm doing a call with, I'm really telling you what link to send. Your executive is going to tell you what link to send. Now, at that point, then I'm going to say, your executive's going to say, okay, Jamie, thank you so much. Wanda, thank you so much. I'm going to hop off now. You guys have a great night. When your executive hops off, you stay on. And you're going to say, this is all you're going to say. You're going to say, thank you so much for doing that training call. Or if it's a regular 3-way call, thank you so much for doing that call. Do you have any questions? Or what did you really think? I think that's more so what I would say. What did you really think? Thank you for doing that call. What did you really think? Because what you want to know is, what did they really think? Because the crazy thing is, they might be as interested as the day is long, and they don't say it to me because they think I'm the salesperson, but they're going to say it to you. Or they might have some real concerns they're going to say to you. And so then your executive is probably going to message you back and say, what did they say after? And then we're going to help you out with that follow-up process as we go along. So that's really what that looks like. So questions, anybody? Anybody have any questions? I know that's a lot of info, and I feel like this is probably one of the most important trainings that we have, is really going over the skeleton and understanding that we're overcoming objections and there's method to the madness. So questions, anybody? No? All right. So this is your challenge. Your challenge, of course, is to get 10 people in the Opportunity Zoom tomorrow night. But what I would love to have on the wall tonight is this. Who is the one person that you would really like to get on that Opportunity Zoom with Gail tomorrow? Who is that one person? I want you to put the one person I would love to have get on the Opportunity Zoom with Gail is. And I want you to put who that person is. That's what I want to see on the wall tonight. But you guys are awesome. I'll get this up for you guys in the morning. I'm not going anywhere. Finally, tomorrow morning, so I'll be able to get that up for you guys. And if you have any questions at all, you know where to find me. All right. Thanks, guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Bye. Good night, everybody.
Good night.